Right and left.
It's a beautiful sky.
So I think we have
For
everybody.
real?
Wow, is there anybody missing?
It's not just a background.
Everybody, I don't see
No,
Derek.
it's everyone
Oh.
else in the building. It's a
Oh,
beautiful
Derek's
day.
not there yet.
No, that's a fake background.
Oh, Robert?
That's a fake background, right, Robert?
No.
No.
No, it's
That's
just-
real.
it's
The
just nice out, yeah, yeah.
sky is gorgeous.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Wow.
Yeah, I get to walk back and forth between the LOB and the Capitol, so this is my little
Here, let
personal
me
break
text,
throughout
I'll
the day.
text
That's
Derek.
great.
Right.
After that big storm last night, now that big, beautiful clouds the next day.
Clear skies,
So
right?
pretty.
Okay, I'm gonna make a very quick prior update. Device restart. Okay.
What was I doing? Okay.
Wait a minute.
We do have one, two, three, we have a quorum, so
So we can get
we
started.
could start.
Yep, okay.
But we could also wait for till 2 more minutes if you want to start at 5:30. What's your,
It's 5:31.
Your
We
choice.
Wait or
You can wait 2 minutes if you want,
2
or you can
minutes,
start.
if maybe Derek will join because he said he will.
yeah, I'm going to text them right now too.
Hi. Hello.
One corner. I have another little guy over.
Forward so she can be visible.
I'm sorry, what?
No, she, if you
Oh, I
can
just have
forward,
my
it
little
will
black
be
corners.
visible.
I have one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
She's,
And everyone will be there.
better?
no, she is not visible.
Oh, no, you don't.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Don't
yeah.
have to be. He could be.
Try.
Are you
Like
joining
that?
us?
Let's see if I can make it work.
Okay.
I just want you to be able to see them too.
This is film. So
Does that work?
everyone will.
You guys can see okay?
Regard, it's just not through the one.
You don't need to see me.
He's trying to get on right now.
Okay.
Reminds us of the Zoom days, huh? Remember the Zoom days?
yes.
Couldn't do this.
Thank you for the hostels.
Yeah, they have a 40-minute time limit too, so you're gonna see that I invited
always
them to
have
2
more
meetings.
houses. You want
So
more?
when the first one ends, I'll drop it and then you bring them on to the second
Always.
one.
Millions of houses.
Okay. Whenever you can spare some more.
That sounds like a good sign.
I don't know if he's having issues.
Okay, I think we'll get started.
I'll keep an eye on it.
Yeah, and he's also gonna just be, what is it?
Okay. So welcome to the task force meeting. Before I get started, is there any motion? Are we good with the agenda?
I would, I'm sorry, Alan, were you going to say
I'm
something?
just nodding yes.
I would like to add just a brief discussion on the order of business and the agenda itself.
Okay, order of business, okay. Anyone second that? Or any concerns?
I second
You second it, okay. elected officials report, I don't think we have anyone today. Okay. So the next one will be develop and adopt a statement on equity.
We have,
Oh, public comment, sorry. Any public comments?
this would be you, you're a member of the public?
Yeah, I'm generally curious about all the steps, like all the bullet points, so I don't have any comments. I'm just trying to listen.
Good. Thank you for coming.
And I wondered if, I thought Joe Lentini might have been invited to this meeting, but I guess not.
He was invited, but unfortunately he couldn't make it tonight. So they've actually scheduled a meeting on the 14th,
Oh.
which I sent an email to you. So if it
June?
didn't- June
Oh, you
14th,
did?
yep,
Okay.
2 p.m.
June 14th. Okay, great, thanks.
We'll have to report back to the.
2 p.m.?
Yep.
Where?
At
Here?
Yep, Community Development and Planning on the second floor.
Where we went?
Yeah, where we were last time.
Oh, okay, thanks.
Okay, anything else?
I know, I'm interested in what's on the agenda.
Isn't it? Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, then going to the agenda. Develop and adopt a statement on equity. So there is a draft statement that is shared here. And so I think, Saima, you represented the not just us, even protesting a recent, is what I see in the update. Is there anything you want to add, anything you want to update?
I'm not sure because I sent Derek a document that we developed with our community. It had some point in it, but the first thing that we want to work on is implementing the holidays in the public schools and the halal lunches in public schools.
Those are the two things.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
Those are the top priorities. There are other things, but those are the.
That's it. If you look on the second page, it lists some. Is that sufficient for
Oh,
you?
the red.
In the red, yeah. Maybe that's what you added?
Yes,
Maybe you sent
yeah,
that?
yes.
Should we review the document together? It's a draft, so should we review it and if we want to make any changes?
Is this from this committee, or is it the mayor, or who who's the author of this?
This from the Sustainable Committee.
Oh,
Yes,
But if I understand correctly, you're also partnering with the Task Force on Innovation and
Innovation
Inclusion.
and Solutions.
Yep,
Yes.
and the HR director and legal compliance manager for the town.
Oh, okay,
So-
so it's a collaboration.
Yep.
Did this come through them already then?
That, I don't know if this is the first step before it goes to them. I'm not sure. And that was a question I was gonna have for Derek myself today. So I'm not sure if this is something that we'll then pass on to them, or if this is something they might have, passed on in a basic form to start with, and it was built from. I'm not sure.
That's not him on the bottom, is it?
I think that's.
Yeah, that's him listening.
That's him, yeah.
It's me.
Hi.
Right,
Oh,
yeah,
good,
right.
Derek, yeah.
Hi.
Okay, is the volume all the way up now?
I can turn it up.
So, apologies. I am a little quiet. I'm on a train right now. Yeah, so I've started drafting this and have asked for feedback from Tom Kosker, who at the Commission on Innovation and Inclusion. I have requested access to CII's survey, where they talk about, they ask Rocky Hill residents the issues that they face in terms of inclusion and equity, and have not yet received that. So I was gonna try to figure out if I should continue talking to Tom, or if I should speak with Dave McGee, their liaison. Yeah, that's where
I don't know if maybe it's best to start back with Tom on that.
Well, Derek, are you asking for us to adopt this statement then as written?
No, this is just an update that it's in progress. My hope is to have something with sign off from both CII and SRH at our next meeting.
Okay.
Okay.
Can I just clarify, I heard CII, am I hearing that? What is CII? Maybe I heard it wrong.
Sorry, Commission on Inclusion and Innovation.
Okay, thank you so much.
Oh,
That's, got it, thank you.
well, then we have it. I would say,
Say before.
Do we need to make a motion to approve
To-
ongoing, or are we just reading it for?
So because this is a draft.
No action items required at this time, although I would welcome everybody's feedback on the documents and suggestions for how to improve it. But I don't think we need to make a motion on it. It's just work in progress stuff.
Working.
FYI.
okay?
Okay.
Okay.
So then we will revisit once it's final document.
Just for the record, I think it's incredibly informative, very concise, and I, in principle, agree with everything that it says.
Thank you.
Thank you. Glad to hear it.
Okay, no discussion on this. We can go to the next topic on the list. Possible Girl Scouts project, creating signs with the QR code for historic walking tour of Quarry Park. So,
I guess that's me. This got on the agenda, and it came, the Girl Scouts contacted me, and so this is a project that they're going to be working on. They have to get it approved by Park and Rec Director Craig Bowman, of course, but it's in the works. Just like we have signs at Dividend, one of the Girl Scouts thought, because I told them that I was afraid they were going to get tagged, they were going to get painted at the quarry. So they said, well, what if we just get a QR code, and then everybody could use your phone, and so we'd be able to have much cheaper signs. Instead of a $500 sign, then we would have a $50 sign, and we can replace that. So.
What's the sign's structure? Is this a permanently mounted sign? Is it a temporary just for the season? Just
No,
curious.
it would be permanently mounted. If you go to Dividend, or even right outside Academy Hall, we have those historic point of
Yeah.
interest signs, you know what I'm talking about, yeah. So we don't want to put something like that structure. I'm envisioning, although it's a Girl Scouts project, they're the ones that have to come up with it. I'm helping them, consulting and whatnot, and perhaps they could speak to you about it, I was initially just thinking of a T-post with a metal sign, really cheap, because it's going to get tagged.
Yep.
You know?
I've had some involvement in the past with Eagle Scout projects for the Boy Scouts, and I know that they had kind of different tiers of scouts involved, from kind of the highest echelons right down to the youngest members. I imagine this is probably a similar sort of setup, so they have different tasks and roles for different groups, age groups throughout the project. That might be really inclusive.
So these are 8th graders.
Eighth
They're
graders?
all 8th graders.
Okay.
They're all at Griswold, and the moms, there were 3 moms there, so there's nobody beyond. They came to me as Walk Bike Rocky Hill representative. I've talked with a lot of Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts in regards to the Eagle Scouts, Eagle Project, etc.
Yeah.
If I may also just report that I spoke with Brian Smith, who is going to get his Eagle Scout project, and he wants to do some trail work, some at Dividend, some at the quarry, opening up the trails for maintenance, but also working on that when you go from the parking lot towards Lower Pond, and it's really, so he could, that could be a Boy Scout, Eagle Scout project, and that would come to engineering as well, Jason.
That would be engineering, yeah.
So he's right in the beginning stages. I gave him a lot of ideas. He seemed to latch on to that one. So we're going to go walk the trails, maybe. I don't know if you're interested.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's it. Thank you.
Can I add something to this?
Please.
The agenda mentions item 4.1, which I'm looking at here. And we can go to precedent, success stories from Bristol, Waterbury, Wethersfield, Ridgefield, Fairfield, Milford, Old Lyme, Portland, Guilford, and Stonington that have done this and been certified to do this, and see what they did. follow their map, follow their
4.1, I'll look at that tonight, thank you.
follow what they did.
Yeah.
And when this says Corey Park, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, Jason, didn't you say that something like this would have to be more encompassing? It would have to
Well,
include
I was just-
more Rocky Hill than just one segment, which is a great start, but
It
it would
might.
also have to do east side, west side.
Yeah,
Various
and it
other
might
parts of
be,
town. And all
it
of that.
might be you build up to it through multiple projects over time.
Yeah, and using
talking
one
about the
template and then changing.
Are you talking about the Girl Scout
I'm
project?
talking about the Girl Scouts project as it relates to item 4.1,
Yeah.
that's the St. CT.
Oh.
So their project is a great template,
Oh,
and what
I
they
see.
do, and then we can build it out to Dividend, build it out to, help me, France,
Buckley, wherever.
wherever else. It doesn't have to be a town park, it could be a
Yeah,
school.
cemetery.
There's a ton of history behind Mosier and all
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I'll have to
And
look
then
into
we
it.
could look at applying it to the.
What does 4.1 say, Alan?
I'll read it to you. The action design provide, hold on a second.
What's the title?
Map tourism and cultural assets.
Oh.
Create maps and resources and implement projects to promote your community's tourism and cultural assets, including
Perfect.
places, institutions, programs, historical resources, and people. Where do we begin, right? There's so many untapped places. Center Cemetery,
Right. Good.
Rocky Hill, obviously the ferry.
I didn't realize I was doing 4.1, but sign me up for 4.1.
You're for 4.1.
So sign the Girl Scouts and the Eagle Scout up, I should say. They're the ones doing the work, I hope.
And to take 4.1.
I can say that up loud.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that we tie it to
Due
this.
to the action.
Yes, thank you,
I
Adam.
haven't been that great at that myself.
Okay, so the next one will be, if no discussion, we can go to the next topic on the agenda. Derek, do you want to, is it more like a chair update, the sixth one?
I'm sorry, folks, my connection is pretty poor. Haritha, I don't know if you have access to the document that I shared with you before.
I have it.
With my notes for what's been done on it.
Yep, I have it, Derek, yep. So, I don't see the webpage status.
I can speak to that one if that helps.
Yeah.
Yeah, so based on the language that you guys approved in a previous meeting, I wanted to get that information up on the town website. I spoke with the town manager about it this afternoon. We were talking about a few different things, and I just happened to bring that up. I wanted to get that to him sooner than I have, but I was going to loop in my boss, the town engineer, tomorrow, and then we'll pass on, because I just wanted to go through official channels, and we'll send it on to Ray and let him look at it, and then as long as he's happy with it, then we'll get it up. And IT works really quickly on those things, so I don't think it would be a big ask for them, but just wanted to make sure they have a chance to review it before I reach out. I didn't want to talk to IT first.
Are you referring to language on the website?
Yeah.
Okay.
We.
Do we have?
I didn't bring a copy with me. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
So many things we discussed, I don't remember exactly what the language, we're referring to Sustainable Rocky Hill and our goal and our mission, and that's
Mhm.
the language, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it lists all the members and whatnot. Just like a regular page, like
Yep.
open space and.
Did you get an email for it?
Yeah,
Or
it's
Can
somewhere,
you email everybody for it? Or
It's
with
been
it?
circulated.
Oh, would you like me to forward that in an email? I can do that.
Oh, not, I mean, I just asked if you
No,
guys.
it's done, it's done already.
Yeah, it was
Okay.
probably 2-3 meetings ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't. Sorry, it's been. It's no excuse. It should go up. So I apologize.
This next one's more fun.
Sorry?
I said the next item is more fun anyway.
The 3.12, right? Enhanced pollinator pathways. So the book club met, I'm just reading from whatever was shared. Book club met on 323 for our last discussion of We Are the Ark. And we have a meeting at different members' home to talk about the gardens. The club is discussing the next book. Do you have any update, Maribeth? Were you part of it last time?
Yes.
Okay. What is the next book that was?
Well, we haven't decided, there's several.
Okay.
And Alan, you were mentioning a few too.
One
There's-
that just brought up in the context of the ARC, which is acts of restorative kindness, which in short means taking part of your parcel of your land and returning it to nature, if you like, or letting it grow naturally. Another step from that would be meadowing. So there's a book, and the name escapes me right now. I
Oh, you
100%
texted it
can't
to
find
me.
it. Give me 10 seconds.
Okay.
It's about meadow.
Lawns
so it's-
to Meadows?
Lawns to Meadows, thank you.
Yeah.
Owen Wormser, W-O-R-M-E-R, W-O-R-M-S-E-R, Lawns to Meadows. And he's based in Berkshire's / Central Mass, Northampton area. He just, here's how you turn your lawn into a meadow.
Did we decide on that?
No.
Okay, yeah, we,
Definitely not.
like, have 3 or 4.
Because there are other things, something called soil was mentioned.
Yeah,
just
Melina had
titled
a
soil.
couple that she threw.
Yeah, so I
in.
didn't want to.
They all sound great.
I think it could be a multi-bill.
But we've been visiting each other's backyards or front yards and seeing what people have already done, which is, that's even, you know, that's a great, in addition to reading about it, to actually see it.
See it, right?
And she had quite an example of, she's got everything. She's got a huge vegetable garden, flowers everywhere. She has a greenhouse. She has a compost
Functioning compost.
thing. And she's eliminating all of any non-native plants in her yard, and she's covering it all with straw. And then just allowing anything that was native to pull through. She's pulling through the native, but she's trying to kill off anything non-native. And she got the straw at the place on, is it Fairacres, on Route 3?
Fairweather Growers.
Fairweather Growers, yeah. They have a place in the back where you could buy the straw. And, yeah, so, and then next meeting, we're going to Chris, another member, Chris, who lives in Weathersfield, yeah. So we're gonna check out his yard.
Anyone has anything else to add for the enhanced pollinators that we may have not captured?
Well, yes, I'd like to encourage people, if they're not on the pollinator pathway, that it's a very easy task to do. Rocky Hill passed the pollinator pathway resolution on our last, sustainable Rocky Hill application to get bronze. And so in front of my house, I have a little round amulet that says pollinator pathways. It's a thing, it's a website. So in your discussions with people, like if Melina is not on the pollinator pathway, she should be. It's
Oh.
free, it's nothing. Saima got Dinosaur State Park on it.
Oh, nice.
I got my house. I also got the Historical Society and Town Hall on it. Why? Because they're putting pollinators now, because of us, they are putting pollinators in, they're planting them, annuals. They're thinking about it.
Who's
instead. Parks and Rec hires Sunny Farms to do all the plants.
In the parks?
pots.
In
The
the
pots
pots.
in front of Town Hall.
Oh.
Plant planters.
And they're gonna be native plants? Is that what it is?
They're pollinators.
Pollinators,
Right.
okay. Oh.
Everything doesn't have to be a native. I mean, that is a goal for somebody who really, wants to.
Right, long-term goal.
Yeah, do it.
But, so
the rest of us are mere mortals. I mean, I have.
So
I don't know the difference, right? I'm learning,
Yeah.
I'm learning.
Good segue though. You said that we got points for that.
So
With the
that
town.
Melina should have a sign, is that
Yeah.
right? And you maybe
I'm sorry,
too.
say,
I should,
please.
hold on, let me finish
Okay.
it. 3.12, enhanced pollinator pathways. Have we got, maybe I'm not understanding the Connecticut CT framework. Have we gotten credit for 3.12?
I believe we have. Yeah, I
There's-
can look it up.
There's
but-
obviously good to keep the conversation flowing, but it's not like we get credit that we move on, we never talk about it ever
So-
again.
so-
But I want to make sure we frame that, if that's fun, right?
So what happened last year was that I found
Rocky Hill or
these
a-
pollinator
For
pathway,
property.
For what property? Oh, sorry.
I found these pollinator pathway resolutions in other towns.
Yes.
And Rocky Hill tweaked it.
Got it.
We adopted it.
Got
No,
it.
no use of pesticides. And to encourage pollinating. So we're the people that have to encourage. So that's why I'm
Yeah,
saying to
yeah,
Mary
yeah.
Beth, it's got to come from somewhere. So the other thing I didn't mention was the food pantry garden
That's
has a big sign in front of it. We're on the pollinator path. So I think there's only 4 or 5
Yeah.
places on the pollinator
Stephanie
pathway.
has one way up on the other side of town.
Stephanie,
I have seen on my
She has
side
a-
of the town one.
Really?
I'm sorry?
I have seen on the other side of the town too, one pollinator. When I walk, I just see and I keep explaining it to my kids, you know, it's,
What street is that?
I'm on the France Street, when you walk down the
Oh,
France
okay,
Street.
because that's it, because she's on Maxwell or something. So that's good, that's two up on that
Yeah,
side of town.
yeah.
Right?
Right.
All right, off that street.
So
too.
go forth and encourage.
So who do we reach out to for the sign?
Connecticut Pollinator Pathways.
Is it a
Google
website?
It's a website, and you could sign up, and you get a little butterfly, and you put it right on your location.
Like on our mailbox or something?
No, you
Just
just
like
stick
an
it on the
action
ground,
item, you
it's
take
on
it
a
to
little
your
spike.
site.
It's
and
a digital
digital?
butterfly.
Oh.
You could buy,
What about
you, you could buy a
little-
sign.
That, you have to buy those?
Yeah.
Can't you point her
Yes.
to the closest one when she leaves the meeting so you can go?
The Food Pantry Garden, my house.
Oh, okay. You have one right in front.
Right,
Mine.
right by the Historical Society?
No, we
No,
didn't buy
you
one.
didn't buy one?
Oh, okay.
Oh, I see.
So that's a
But then it's
website.
Sounds like a good activity for
Dinosaur
us to
park,
do
we still have to put
online,
out-
just
we still
encourage
have to
people
mount it and put
to
it.
register
Oh,
themselves
got
if
it.
they're already
We have on
posting
Saturday.
pollinator gardens.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sending a note on the Facebook page.
So if you don't buy the sign, you get digitally posted on the website net. I see.
Oh, I get it.
You get a
So,
butterfly.
so it's called Pollinator Pathway, and I'm sure, you go under Get Involved, Find My Town, and
Yeah.
we're on it,
Do you
man.
like register, you put your name and
You go to Rocky, you
email and
go to
that-
Rocky
Your
Hill,
address.
Uh-huh.
and then we have a page. We actually have a page.
Oh,
I've
wow.
had pictures of the historical pictures of the Food Pantry Garden.
Cool.
Yeah, so this is something to,
So
you know,
does it
we
add-
got the points, but now we have to continue the process, right?
So like, do you add a picture of, say, Melina's front yard or something? How does that work? Is that
I
continuing?
think I would recommend going to the website,
Website,
follow
yeah.
it there.
Yeah.
Yeah, Melina would have to,
The
Yeah,
the
sign
small
up,
butterfly
register.
shows on the map, so with the, on your address.
Oh, okay.
I don't think it shows the name.
Oh,
That's
okay.
gonna
Too
cause-
slow here.
Right?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I don't think the name, that's good idea.
So if no, yeah, if no other discussion on this, we'll go to the next one. The recycling and the deep SMM grant. Derek, do you or Jason, you have any update on that?
I know that the original pilot program that the town was working on is been in flux. They had an original concept, and I think they're still tweaking it. So I haven't gotten any information to share yet on it. But Joe Lentini, our highway superintendent, is also in charge of solid waste collection and recycling in town. You know, he's been working with the town manager on that, and they've got a plan they're working on. So I'm sure he's happy to share with us as soon as he has something that he can report on. He did request with conversations with Derek to have a meeting where he could give Sustainable Rocky Hill some updates on what's been going on, you know, in the region, and maybe some updates on what the town's doing. But that's not until June 14th, so we got about 2 weeks. And a couple members of this task force will be there to chat with Joe, and I always learn something every time I sit with him, so looking forward to it.
June 14th, day to
I'd like to ask, on the agenda, when, that we include the sustainable CT numbers next to whatever, like you did for 3.12 in Ames Pollinator Garden. I think the deep SMM grant is 11 point something, Derek. I don't know. Do you know that?
I check that for you.
Or is it?
I
it
could do a
says
better
9
job of that next time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No worries. Yeah, that'll. It seems Alan is making me think. Okay, well, we're talking about something. Why? Because it's part of the sustainable action.
I've just been very quiet about that
Let's
subject,
focus.
because I don't want it to be so
Make a new
driven
meeting
by
for 'em.
sustainable.
Yeah,
so
stuff.
very
I want
invited
it
to the
driven
second
by
one, so I'll switch it.
Organic.
It might be
Conversation.
9.4, because under events.
Is it?
E and F, it's putting like the Trash Talk with Karen Wood, 9.4, upcoming Blue Earth registration, 9.4, so maybe.
Okay, it's in
Most
9.
of them have.
Okay.
What I was gonna try to do,
Strategic
because
materials.
Derek and I had talked about this for a moment last meeting, was, Derek, if it's okay with you, I might just kind of go back through our meeting minutes up to this point and try to match up the work that's been done and the discussions to the proper item numbers, and just to kind of get a lay of the land of where we are. Because I know you guys are focusing on trying to achieve the silver level status. So I thought it might be good to kind of plug it in and see where we're at, and talk about the things maybe we haven't talked about yet, if that's okay, just to help you.
And just to close the loop on that, 9.4, reduce and compost organic waste,
Yeah,
Yep, that's fine.
yeah,
as we're seeing.
yeah.
So you did have that in there, you just like it's.
Yeah, just not everywhere, sorry.
If no more discussion on this, we'll go to the next one on the
Mhm.
agenda. Walkback request to modify signs from the existing share the road to 3 feet, it's the law.
Can I,
Yes,
sorry to be so verbose.
Yeah.
So this is something that falls under one of these actions without investing a lot of time to find out which one it is. There's a complete
6.5.
streets.
I think it's 6.5, I see in Derek's.
Okay,
notes.
but again, this sort of straddles that balance between things that we want to do because we think they're the right thing versus things that we're doing because they're in this framework. But members of Walk Bike Rocky Hill, including myself, are encouraging what is currently, let me just show you all a visual, which I took up here. These signs are currently in town. Easy to see, but you probably recognize them.
Share the road.
Share the road. And this doesn't have to be a long agenda point. What I was suggesting, and I wanted to have some feedback, is that these be either added to this roadside signage, or frankly, I think replacing them is probably harder sell. But if we were going to add some more, can we consider this? Had a meeting this morning, so I'm not going to ignore that we already talked about how this is not in the federal guidelines and so forth, and how Connecticut is different from federal. And so that's a big part of this conversation is Public Works and your department. But broadly speaking, I just wanted to introduce this idea to Sustainable Rocky Hill as a body. I don't think we need action on it. I just wanted to make it known. By that same token, if I
What
didn't
was
take
good
action on
about
it.
that conversation we had today was talking about how this and some of the other things that we've been talking about recently does kind of fall under the guise of kind of the general term of complete streets policies. And that's where state governments and communities try to focus on a few different things when looking at a roadway's redesign. You're looking at safety, you're looking at accessibility for people of all walks of life. So trying to improve accessibility for young people, disabled people, elderly people, and trying to make that accessible to every group in your population. So that way your streets are more usable by everyone in your community, with the goal and hope that you can calm traffic at the same time through those designs, make that road more amenable for other modes of transportation besides just traveling in cars, so that more people are using their streets, they're spending more time on the streets, which they think is actually good for your local economy.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to promote more people stopping in and checking in on their local businesses and spending a little bit more time paying attention to what's going on in their own community right there on a personal level, whether it's walking, biking, or other forms of travel that might be a little bit more interactive than just driving in a car.
There's 100%, just to put it, there's one experience when you drive down Old Main Street and now you're in Weathersfield, you go wherever you want to go. And the second experience is if you're walking or biking, architecture. I don't notice that tree there. I know that sounds very corny, but it's very true.
Yeah.
Like suddenly closer to where you live, and there's a, help me, the Historical Society, the 8th mile mark is on Church and Old Main Street at 8 Mile to Hartford. You wouldn't see that in a car. You'd see it because you're walking by it. And if you're walking in a safe place, you're more likely to walk it, or you're walking with multiple children or various mobility. And it, quickly, just to conclude, it ties into this statement in many ways, because 1, 2, 3, or 5th bullet point is economic, down there is mobility. So we have to always bring that conversation into this.
Alan, I wonder if you could bring information from the state level in regards to that 3 feet sign. Because I know that the Share the Road sign is not a sign that you, when you're researching and I'm researching, you know, when I'll post something on Walk, Bike, Rocky Hill and the Facebook, and we have maybe 1,000 or more people, and a lot of them are experts. And so one of them is Kevin Sullivan, who is from Weathersfield. He's Bike Walk Weathersfield. And so when people who I consider experts in the biking field say, well, yeah, 3 feet is the one you want to use, then that makes me want to know, well, so what I'm hearing is it's a state thing. You're saying Share the Road is federal. I'd like to find find out more about that. I don't know if that's something that you can do.
You said that, I'm going to quote you, or maybe I don't want to misquote you, but you said Connecticut is one of 14 states that have this policy that Share the Road, that is must allow 3 feet when passing is a law.
Right. So I think Connecticut passed that law last summer. Please don't quote me on that. And yeah, I think there's 14 states nationwide that have similar type of legislation at the state level about trying to provide minimum 3 feet clearance when passing a bicyclist on a road. When talking about the signage, in our meetings today, we were talking about the federally approved standard for signage and pavement markings and other signage for informational purposes to try to make driving experience uniform throughout the nation. And it's something called the Manual on Uniform Traffic Control Devices. So that way the driver experience is the same regardless of what state you're in. So when you cross from one state to the next, things aren't drastically different. And each state had a choice of whether to adopt that model as something that they would adopt as their own.
The 3 foot?
No, I'm not getting to that yet, but just that federal manual that I'm talking about. So each of the 50 states decided on their own, one at a time, to adopt that as their standard, and Connecticut has. Connecticut does have some additional signs above and beyond that federal standard that they publish in a separate document that can be found online on the Department of Transportation's website for the state. Neither one of those two manuals have the sign in it that is referred to, and I think it's a great sign, personally.
Wow.
I like it. I think it's very clear for the
How about
And
that?
it makes people really pay attention, more so than the arrows. I think it's a great sign too.
And one of the things I was saying in the meeting is that manual on uniform traffic control devices does get revised over time. It's been in existence since the 1930s, and over time, signs have changed as they've done scientific studies on the effectiveness of them, and they modify them. And the red stop sign that we're all familiar with was an evolution to get to the point that it's at now. It used to be a different color. It used to be much smaller and a different shape. So things like that, and especially with multimodal transportation being, I hate to say it, it's a newer concept in the way they're viewing it nowadays, even though bicycles were being used, before the automobile was. I think that signage will evolve, and you'll probably get something comparable to that, if not very similar to that, at some point. The revised manual has been designed, but it has not been approved yet, and I haven't seen it yet. So perhaps, as time goes on, we might be able to modify some of the signs that we think are the right ones to have up currently. And perhaps they can be improved over time to do a better job of communicating to people what the meaning is.
It's all very promising. It's good to be ahead of that a little bit, and that's where I think we are. We like something, I should speak for myself, before the powers that be implement it, and that means we're thinking we're on the right track.
If the people lead, the leaders will follow.
There you go.
So I would like to see this on the agenda for next month and see if there's new information perhaps And then beyond that, if we
Oh,
do
Jason,
get,
can you just unmute so we? Oh, thank
We
you very
do-
much. Awesome.
if we do get new information that supports the 3-foot sign, then I think it would be appropriate for this task force to write, our chairman to write a letter
A
stating a recommendation.
So you said that you're looking for what exactly?
Well, Jason.
When was the law enacted? And you said I should go to the state about the 3-feet law and find out that, which I could do that through my state rep or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, what information?
Well,
is for?
why doesn't Jason see it, why didn't Jason and Steve see it in the state handbook? It should be in there. If these are the recommended or the approved signs, if it's not in the state handbook or it's not in the federal handbook, then, you know,
There is a way to, make requests and make recommendations. There is a comment period for something like that being approved and adopted. I don't know if we're still in that comment period or not. We probably are. And I've certainly seen situations where there's gaps in the manual that have been identified through a process like that, where they'll say,
Right.
there's no information on this area. Is there something that can be done? And they've produced a technical bulletin by that group that created the manual to try to fill in a gap. And they do some minor revisions sometimes in between these larger updates. The other way of going about it would be to approach the Department of Transportation at the state level as well and see if there's something that can be done. So there might be a group there in DOT, with a specialization in multimodal transportation. That might be a source to start with. And that would probably work on both the state and the federal level to start with a conversation.
contact Kevin.
Have a conversation about it.
Yeah.
Just quickly I contacted some, I'm not gonna know his last name, I only know his first name is Alan. But he's in the walk bike Glastonbury. Driving through Glastonbury on Keeney Road, I saw one of these 3-feet signs, and it was like seeing a unicorn. There's one of those signs. So I reached out to this person who might have some, and what they said in short was that it was, it's the only one of its kind, and it was put up as some sort of a trial, and I don't think it gained any momentum, and it kind of died on the vine, but there it is, it's still there. But it's not, they were going to see about putting them throughout the town of Glastonbury, but that never happened. Why, I'm not really sure. It is interesting though, that there's, it's not, like, how did they get one? My approach was like, how did they get one? What was the mechanism for that sign to go up? And I guess it was just I wanted to speak out of turn because whoever their planner was / town manager said, let's try this, and they got one up. So it's a success story, even though it's only one sign. But that's all I have on that topic.
Okay. No more discussion, we can go to the next one on the agenda. I think we talked about the SRS Book Club, so I think the new date and will be published, right? New date and
To follow.
Yeah, to follow. Presentation on the bike routes, bike lane citizens' feedback on the town is on 5/25. That relates to the item, it actually ties to the item 6.5. Then the next one is National Composting Day at the Senior Center, it's on 5/29. And is it Saima who is going to do it, or?
Yes, but
right?
it's not on 5/29,
5/29.
it's on the
31st, right?
Oh, sorry about
Yeah,
that.
it's on
Yeah, it's on
31st.
31st.
Apologize. That's terrible. I apologize.
Because if it was on 29th, then it's a problem, because I'm out of state. I'm not here on that day.
And that's
And
on
that's a
Monday.
memorial, that's a
It's on
Monday.
Monday, yeah.
The Monday?
No,
Yeah,
because
it's
this one's a,
29th.
this one's on the Monday, it's a memorial.
Okay.
Can I quickly ask what time that is?
1 o'clock.
That's great. We were talking earlier about how the senior center is kind of a packed house at 1 o'clock. And that's, you have a captive audience, and it's the best time to go to where they are instead of trying to get people.
Is it discussion?
It's a presentation.
Presentation at the lunch this evening?
We'll again advertise, it's already done, I think Derek already posted it, but we will again, when it comes, we will post it again on the website, on the Facebook page. The next one is the compost turning at intergenerational food pantry garden. It's on 6/1 at 6 p.m. So, anything you want to add, Alan?
No, it's, is what it is. We're having a compost turning, which all that means is that everything that's been collected in bin 1 gets shoveled into bin 2. So more hands make, what's the?
Light work.
Light work, thank you. So all are welcome. We are going to offer, Harita's going to offer hot tea. Anita's going to offer homemade cookies. At 6 to dark.
Compost cookies.
Compost
to be
cookies.
specific.
Compost cookies, so that's 6 to dark.
Oh, no.
And it's just a question of,
Yeah. That is the thing, actually.
that's how this compost at the IFPG works. It's hand done, and the labor is only a couple times a year, and this is one of those times when you have to empty the full one to get it empty for the summer. That's it. You want to add anything? I know you're co-hosting.
I
Being a
think
big part of this.
Alan covered
Your
it.
family is going to be participating in it?
Yeah, so one thing that we want to do is to replace the pallets. So it's easier for it to open. So my husband said he's going to help out with that. So my whole family will be there
Oh,
to
nice.
see how we can fix that. I think Anita and Alan are going to help with that too. So yeah.
It's going to be a tight, it leans right now.
Right. So it's trying to fix it.
Because it's full.
So that's about the D. Next one is Trash Talk with Kerry Wood. It will be on 6/27. Right? So there is some more.
Catchy name.
Yeah, there is some more details that Derek has shared us. Kerry to discuss state and legislative level efforts to reduce organic materials waste is what he mentioned here. That's on 6/27. Look out for that.
Well, in
And do we know where that is?
I think it's.
Yeah, it's at the community center.
At the community center,
I
okay.
saw there, you might do that.
And also, Sam King from Blue Earth will be there
Yeah,
to
okay.
talk about their services and what they offer. And actually, Derek, did you talk about, like, what you want to?
I haven't yet. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, so very, very briefly, Sustainable CT has a community match fund that will not only dollar for dollar match the amount that residents raise, but if the campaign is composting related, they'll throw in an extra 50 cents for every dollar. What this means is that we've spoken with Sam King, and he would support a campaign for signing up Rocky Hill residents for their composting service. Ordinarily, an annual service would be $200, but with the Sustainable CT Community Match Fund, a $200 subscription will be $80 to residents.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to try to get the paperwork all in place, but the hope is that this event can also be a good launch point for residents to get access to this service for much, much cheaper than you ordinarily would.
So
And-
do they have to sign up? The residents have to sign up saying that we want to take this service? How
Yes.
would that
Yeah.
work?
They need at least 50 residences to sign up in order to make it.
And it should be in the same neighborhood, different parts of the town?
He has not specified that it be in the same neighborhood or anything at this point, as a pilot. It's a
Okay.
pilot.
Okay.
And you can either do it
The
online.
threshold for the threshold for supporting Rocky Hill is 50 households, but they could be anywhere within the town. Currently, they've got one registrant, I think, so they just need 40 more for the service to be activated.
I showed interest, but they needed 50.
So-
But she said, do they have to be at the meeting to sign up, or can they do it online?
No, so I believe the way that this works is that we would go through the Sustainable CT Match Fund, which is a little bit like a crowdfunding platform, as I understand it. So imagine going to a Kickstarter or a GoFundMe page, and people would sign up that way, pay the $50 or the $80, and then that information would be transferred to Blue Ridge Compost.
So, Derek, can I just jump in for a minute with a couple of caveats? One of the things is that there's, already trash collection and recycling in town, as you know, and a pilot program for the SMM grant, and now this as a possibility too. So my caution would be to just make sure that, every step of the way, the town is involved with anything above and beyond just research. It's a great idea. I love the crowdfunding thing, but that's also very new for this town. And I know it's something that's, seems to be working at the state level, but the town of Rocky Hill hasn't been involved with something like that yet. So I think, we need to have conversations to explain the benefits of it and really loop in our finance department, our town manager, and our highway superintendent, Joe Lentini, who we talked about earlier, so that they're aware of what Blue Earth can offer as a service and what part of town they might be operating in, so that there isn't overlap with the pilot program, and we don't want to have two competing groups necessarily. If we were going to do it, I imagine you want to have it work synergistically between the two to try to get as much benefit for the town residents as possible.
Absolutely.
Well, I think when it was first discussed,
Absolutely.
oh, sorry, go ahead.
I'm good.
All I would say is that, I agree, and I think we should coordinate as much as possible with the town. I'm eager to hear about the program that actually, Joe has put together through the SMM grant. Frankly, I didn't have a lot of hope that would get resolved, and so the fact that it's moving forward is fantastic. This would be something, if it went forward, that had, this is entirely through individual households with a private organization. Like the finance director for the town wouldn't necessarily need to get involved because it's just a contract between Blue Earth Composting and a household.
Not unlike the modern
That being
milkman.
said, we should coordinate as much as possible.
But I also want to make sure that we're not violating anything in the existing contracts we may have with our current trash hauler too, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to make sure the town was involved with every step forward, because the last thing I want to do is create any sort of additional financial liability for the town or any confusion or conflicts there. So I had to state that at the meeting so everybody knows. And we've talked a little bit about this already leading up to this, but I just want to make sure that if Blue Earth's something that does come to town, that it's done with the blessing of the town as well.
Well, I just want to make a public comment on that, and that is that this discussion did take place also between me and Carrie, and I've been wanting to do this for a long time, and so it is a purely, it was at a time too when it's been over a year since the grant has not been accepted. It's been officially declined actually, so it was a way to find a way for private citizens to have a private service. That's what Blue Earth has always done. Now they're doing municipal work as well in some towns, but Weathersfield, Newington, a lot of these towns it's private. So what we do as a private citizen really has nothing to do with the town. And so now that the town is considering a municipal option, I don't know how far it is in terms of the process of being accepted by DEEP. And even if it were, it would be a municipal situation, and we again could choose as private citizens to participate or not. So I can see why it sort of seems competitive, but as a pilot, there would be two pilots. One is, because I have several questions for the town over, you know, how they're going to, are they really gonna use the grant for it, or are they gonna use town taxes? You know, if they're using taxes, then that's something that needs to be discussed about. Are they hiring people to do it? Are they buying trucks for it? Are they, you know, how are they spending money to do this? And if it's a pilot for 1 year, you know, for the town, you know, that's another thing, whereas as a private citizen, this could continue forever if that never happens. So I'm just speaking as a private citizen, would love to see a municipal program, but we haven't seen it yet. And, you know, June 14th, maybe we'll learn a lot more. But even if it did start
Right.
as a pilot, we could still do this privately. And he's saying that he already said that if we wanted to pay $17 a month to have a pickup every other week with a curbside thing, that's what he's offering. And for $17 a month, I'm willing to pay that to do that. But then Derek said this other organization would subsidize that. It would even be cheaper than that. So anyway, I think it's two different
So
things.
I think the next steps are, as you say, Mary Beth, to have that meeting with Joe and to learn about the town program. It may be that these things are complementary. It may be that the end result of it is that, you know, we have a menu of options to provide to residents of the town, which is always a good thing. And of course, we want to coordinate as much as possible so that, yeah, the ultimate goal here, I think we all agree, is to reduce food waste as much as possible. So I'm looking forward to that June 14 meeting where we can learn more and share more about the program.
Mary Beth, you said the town declined the grant? Is that something you heard?
That is something I heard. It
And
hasn't been made public, but.
Derek, have you heard that? That the town declined the SMM grant, or I don't know, Jason, I don't know if you can report.
I have not heard that. I'm not a solid waste person. You know, I work in the engineering department, and you know, that's not really in my purview. Someone else handles that in town, so I'm not knowledgeable about
Well, and I
that at
think that as it
Well-
was written originally, it was for the co-collection.
Correct.
So
But-
declining co-collection doesn't mean that they can't apply for an alternative.
Something else, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I
all.
get
So it sounds
clar-
like speculation, but probably with some background information.
Just
Yeah.
a quick clarification on this June 14th meeting. We're not going to pack that with members of the public, but what time is it and who's currently attending it?
There's going to be two members of Sustainable Rocky Hill.
Okay, so there's no,
Yeah, it's
then
not.
speaking.
Yeah,
for
it's not going to rise to the level of official Sustainable Rocky Hill.
It's not unlike
Public
t-
meeting.
this morning, just so everybody knows, we all met this morning to talk about.
Yeah, it's very similar.
The
Just
subcommittees, the same
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, all right, thank you.
Yep.
I think we talked about the blue word already. The next one on the agenda is the announcement of the time and date of next meeting.
Yes.
And you
Got a
added
public
something
calendar.
for me, right?
Yes, the order, yes, before
Is
that.
that going to be after that then?
After that,
Okay.
yes.
So the fourth Thursday next month, June, would be the 22nd.
June 22nd?
Yeah.
Summer,
Could somebody go back and say what time does Carrie Wood's meeting start? Is that a 6 o'clock meeting?
7.
7.
Wait, trash talk?
Yeah.
Trash talk.
I thought it was, oh, you're 1 o'clock.
Yeah, that is
Oh,
on
I'm
the.
surprised, because she's done a lot of things in the community center that were midday. She did the train, I'm trying to remember what, she had people, representatives from the train that runs here by, is it Providence and Worcester, or such and such. Ed, you were at that meeting.
yes.
Sandy, you were at that meeting. It was a midday thing, so I thought it was more of her style, something midday. We're certain that it's 7?
It is 7,
Okay,
yeah,
thanks.
and that's when Sam King is coming.
Oh, got it. Okay, thanks.
Okay. So the next meeting will be on June 22nd. Going to the next one, which topic, order of business.
Right, so I'm looking at the agenda that is written, and I'm looking at our bylaws at the order of business, and our bylaws say the normal order, I'm quoting, the normal order of business at any regular meeting shall be as follows. So I would ask that the agenda, it seems like it's a collaboration between you and Derek, Jason. I would ask that you look at the bylaws and that either we're going to change the bylaws or we're going to use that order of business. Because this right now was a good meeting. You know, we got a lot of updates. We have events. But on the bylaws, it says subcommittee reports. And I don't think that this commission ever truly established subcommittees yet. We discussed envisioning and we discussed what we wanted to do, but it's been sort of a organic, well, somebody's going to take a lead in this or this, and somebody's going to call somebody else. So I think having that subcommittee report, it's going to make us, okay, so what subcommittee are you on? Or are you? Or me? So.
And what did you accomplish?
And what, correct, yeah. So anyways, if we could make that change for the next agenda, I think that'd be great. I don't know if there's any discussion, any feedback from that, but those are my thoughts.
Okay. So before we meet next time, I think we need to form those subcommittees, right? I think right now we talked about it. Last meeting.
It seemed very, I hate to say informal, but maybe it was informal.
Was it, aren't the working groups, what are
Yep,
those?
that's
So
it.
those are
That's it.
Those are
basically,
basically,
Yeah.
but there were a couple of groups or working groups where we were actually kind of hitting more than the quorum. So that is where we wanted to see if we can
That's
break
right.
it down again by actions and form the subcommittees. So I think that is where we left off last time.
I know we're kind of slow moving through these processes, but should that be on the agenda, the top of the agenda next meeting?
yes.
And that by July, August, we'll have that in motion. It started here with that suggesting it, next meeting we'll formalize it,
Yep.
for lack of a better word.
I love that idea, Alan. So we give it some time and discussion and decide how this group wants to work, you know. We did discuss last time about, well, you know, should we have a leader for each subcommittee, a chairperson? Should they be taking notes? I mean, we all document things in our own way, or we don't document things in our own way. So anyways, good, great, thank you.
Is there such a thing, maybe this is before we adjourn, is there such a thing as new business that would be
Yes.
added to the bottom of the agenda? Robert brought up something that wasn't added to the agenda, but it's incredibly timely. There's legislative updates that he wanted to share. That could obviously be punted to June. But for my reference, would that be something that we could add in new business to someone say, well, I came up this morning, I had this $1 million idea.
So this is the
Discussion
agenda
of old business.
no, this is the agenda in our bylaws.
Oh, I see.
So you do see old business, new business. That's how we had set it up.
For the record, since this is still a formal meeting, can I just read those 1 through 10 that has call to
Sure.
order, roll call, appointments, resignations, public comment, reports from the task force chair, subcommittee reports, action taken minutes, discussion of old business, discussion of new business, adjournment. We agreed to adopt these bylaws, so the June agenda should follow this framework?
That's what I would suggest.
So take a motion.
Uh,
Is that like an action?
That'll, I don't suppose so. No, I think it's just a point of order, right? I mean, who knows more about the,
I
don't think we-
probably
I don't
point
think
of
it's a
order.
motion,
but-
because it's
yeah.
already
it's just,
established.
Yeah.
We
I'm
just-
just being pedantic, but at the same time, I'm just clarifying it. That's, we don't disagree on this. There's no great.
Okay.
Just to make sure we have the current bylaws, because those, I think that was a revised one that I was reading off of. But it just said one was going to be moved to, yeah, the order.
So for the next meeting, we'll have Robert's legislative summaries from how they affect this group, or how they impact this group.
Anything you want to add, Derek?
No. Thanks for sharing.
In the cafe car.
Where are you now, Derek?
Just past New York.
Where's he going?
Not quite sure where he's, no, he's going.
He's going someplace?
someplace,
Oh.
yes.
That's amazing.
Just he and his wife only.
Oh, wow,
No child.
nice.
Oh, that, should have said that. Sorry.
Okay, so we motion for adjourn,
I'll motion to adjourn.
Second?
Thank you.
all in favor?
Aye. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank
Great seeing you all.
Nice,
Thank you.